Wait. Don't swipe away yet. I've got some upcoming shows that you don't want to miss out on. On Wednesday, June 12th, I'll be at Helium Comedy Club for the Funniest Person in St. Louis contest. I have 10 tickets that I can give away for free. So if you're interested, message me, grab some tickets for you and their loved ones. Come out, vote for me or don't, but make sure you come out. It's going to be a great show no matter what. Also, on June 14th, I will be in Alto Pass, Illinois at the Alto Vineyard. This will be part of the Comic Invasion TV filming. The next night, I will be in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, my hometown, at Port Cape, and that will also be part of the Comic Invasion TV filming. So make sure you grab tickets, come out, be in the crowd, catch yourself on TV when it airs later this year. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Best Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Russler. Joining me this week is Ryan Ballard. He's a good friend of mine. He's a comedian, producer, showrunner. He does all kinds of things. Former youth pastor. We had a great time. We sat down and talked about everything. But he's got a couple upcoming shows, so make sure you go and check him out. Follow him on social media. I know you guys are going to enjoy the episode.
Asking me about who the best race is.
Yes, exactly. Before you tell us the best race, Ryan, you want to plug in the upcoming dates and shows? No. Actually, do you have any? You want to plug your social media real quick just so we don't forget?
Yeah. So Ryan Ballard Comedy at all the whatever things you can do. That's it. It's Instagram and TikTok, I think. And then Anti-Bar Comedy. Go and follow that. Check out the YouTube page. Got some awesome stuff. Got Eric Russler coming with a feature on Anti-Bar Comedy real soon. Fucking stoked for it. So
yeah, I'm really excited for that clip to come out. I completely forgot about it till Clay, shout out Clay, sent me a text and was like, "Hey, do you think Ryan has those clips yet?" And I was like, I forgot all about it.
I was laughing so fucking hard. You just roasted everybody. And it made me so goddamn happy. I was just my laugh is going to be one of the hugest laughs on that fucking thing because it was so fucking good.
I hope so. But I was crouched down in the back of the room and I was watching, people go up and everybody was doing well. And I just remember the last time I came through, I was doing like my normal, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, ha ha ha, like
to children.
Yeah, to people that were, 21, the average age in the room, and they were just kind of like, all right, you old man, whatever. And I was like, I need to get younger material. So I was like, all right, what can I do? And I was like, I'll just start checking things off. So I was sitting in the back of the room just looking at the audience members, and I would come up with 2 jokes for each person of what you look like. And I was like, I bet I could string those together and make 4 minutes.
You had a couple really good ones. I had one the other day. It's not going to make any sense. The look-like joke is like such a great joke, though.
Yeah,
it always is. If you hit it right, if you nail it. I have my buddy. Someone compared him to John Cusack, and I was like, "Well, yeah, if he had whatever disease Stephen Hawking has, then John Cusack with that disease, that's him. Here's fair."
Mm-hmm.
That's not, but yeah, no, that Anti-Bar dude, it is. I am so happy, like you're coming through, and Clay.
I love it.
It's the shit, man.
I never would have expected it if somebody would have been like, "Oh, there's this comedy show Under a Deck in Illinois. Do you want to go check it out?"
With a former youth pastor who's running it.
Yeah. There's a former youth pastor who started a comedy show Under a Deck. You want to go? I'd be like, but I love it. Every time I go, I'm like, this is the best. This is so much fun.
It's fun having like just all the comics having fun. It's just a good time in that, like coming out to, because I mean, Jack Wright a couple weeks ago, Clay had a good set. I mean, like Gaffigan and Porter both just, those 2 guys fucking murdered down there. Fucking both of them murdered down there. And it's just getting to see other comics do it too. It's great.
Gavigan was really great at hosting the like Would You Rather with the
Yeah.
crowd afterwards. But Aaron Porter is just so funny. Like he's just so quick or whatever.
Yeah, it's annoyingly.
Yeah,
like,
it is kind of annoying. All right, I'll admit.
It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all right, I get it.
I am jealous a little bit of it. Of like, okay, man, stop making. You don't have to make it look so easy.
I've told both of them like going into the hosting thing of going like, be so mean, like just be as mean as you fucking can, because like it's my favorite when they're being mean. It's the funniest fucking shit to me. It makes me so happy.
I like it because the crowds are good. Like,
Yeah,
they're the average age is young, but they're still good. Like they want comedy. Like they want to hear jokes. They don't care about you if you're mean or
yeah.
politically correct or whatever. Like they just want to hear like jokes.
It's the idea of going like, no, this is just partying in your friend's basement, and then that one friend who's the funniest, is telling a story, right? Like if you, that's kind of the vibe to be of like going like, I remember that party, like, and how great it was, and then oh shit, Anthony told this story about X, and you laughed all. That's the type of shit we're trying to do, and it's turned out pretty fun. Like the Would You Rather is really fun.
That's a new thing. That's a new thing to add to it that I haven't seen anybody do before. And it's like, okay, so the comic goes up and does their set, and then you or whoever is like guest hosting will come up and play Would You Rather with the crowd, and the audience gets to like participate a little bit, and the comedian gets to like throw some stuff out there. It's kind of fun.
It's the best when the audience throws one up. When they, that hopefully that'll continue to get better. And maybe we should try it of even just like
some of them are terrible.
We should let the other comics in the back throw them up too. Like if comics come, you should write one. And it's not for us. It's telling somebody like the other two comics, thinking it'd be something funny to hear them riff on. That might be a better way of like ensuring, like
it's something creative,
riffing, like keeps it riffy
instead of. Would you rather have McDonald's for the rest of your life or Burger King for the rest of your life? You're like,
and if you're choosing
I'd
Burger
rather
King,
shoot me.
Jesus Christ, how do you pick Burger King over McDonald's?
No, I'm not. I don't like McDonald's. I really don't. It's one of those things I get mad that I have to spend money on it because my kids love it.
Okay, but my kids fucking love my son every meal. That's what he picked every fucking meal.
All kids love it. I get it.
It's how consistent they are, which is what's crazy.
I understand that as well.
Of like how shittily, it's still shitty, but consistently shitty. And you're like, I know that flavor.
That's why I drink Bud Light, and that's why I drink,
That's why I only eat
Coors
my wife's
Light.
ass. It's like, that's the one.
Yeah, I know it. I know it. It's familiar. That's why I'm married. Familiarity. I don't want to get to know somebody's new. Man, actually, that is. I have told my wife that before. Of like, I'm with you because I love you, but also because I don't have the energy to get to know anybody else.
Oh yeah.
When was your parents' anniversary, and what are you allergic to, and who is your best friend in 5th grade, and there's so much information that you have to learn about someone, and then you just have to like somehow retain it, and it's not important, but it is somehow. Like I just
can't match my wife. There's no way I get somebody who is darkly, weirdly funny as she is.
Yeah.
Like one of those, like that's pretty rare. She's so goddamn funny, and like she's the sweetest woman on earth, but she will like say the darkest joke, and it gets me every time. I'm like, oh gosh, it's like that. There's no way I'm getting that. I have to go find that again. That sounds exhausting. I'd be like, how many women won't?
See, I don't know if
they won't riff.
Yeah, well, I don't. My wife is good. She is very funny in her own like respect. She is not great at riffing, but I need that because I told her all the time, like, I'm a gas pedal, so I need you to be a brake.
Yeah.
Because if we're both gas pedals, this car is going to crash. All right. I need someone to be like, no, we're not going to do that.
It's great. You need the balance.
Yeah.
My wife made me stop taking acid for that. She's like, it's unbearable. It's too much. You gotta.
Yeah.
Weed's fine, drinking, but never acid again because Jesus, you won't shut the fuck up. And you're like, yeah. My bad.
That's pretty good. I think that's the key. Find your, and there's some guys out there who are brakes and they are married to a gas pedal. and that ends in divorce, but that's okay. That's all right. Yeah, it's just she's gonna cheat on you.
She's gonna do a boudoir photo shoot, but it's not really for you.
With someone else. Yeah. No, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. I have a bunch of new questions.
Yeah.
I didn't make slides out of them because I just ran out of time, especially with summer and having the kids home and everything like that. But I've also got some slides in there.
I like how you're pretending that you're a good dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like how you're... Oh, okay, look who decided to care now. Okay, now that summer's here. Let's see. What's the best show that your kids are into?
Oh, my kid actually, he's pretty great on that stuff. We just watched Jackass with him, so he really got into that.
I remember my dad showed me the Jackass movie when it first, you could rent it at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first times I ever saw my mom and dad argue. It was because my mom was like, "I told you not to let him watch it," and he was like, "We skipped over a bunch of it. We watched the funny things like that." She was mad.
My kid, so we were doing laundry and we had it on, and my kid walked through the room, and I think it was when Pontius had his dick out.
Yeah, probably.
And he's like, "Should I be watching this?" And we're like, "Well, you have one of those, so I don't care." And it's one's like, "Ah." And he's like, "Okay."
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm like, "Yeah, it's just fine." And so we started watching it, and then he was hooked, and we went through every one. We did 5 of them in a row. It was pretty great. I don't know what that says about us as parents.
Oh, no, no judgment. You.
And but he likes Only Murders in the Building's the one he likes. He's starting to get into King of the Hill. Me and him liked watching that together.
Only Murders in the that's the Steve Martin. Martin Short, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Steve Martin's so great.
I thought there was the season finale of season 1. He does a lot of physical comedy in it, and it hit me it was one of those holy shit, this is maybe the best Steve Martin I've seen.
Yeah, because he's also 78 years old.
Yeah, and you're it was him and Martin Short are so funny together. That show is fantastic.
Do you remember the movie Three Amigos?
I never really. I was too young. I think my dad liked those, but I don't really think I ever saw it. I saw Father of the Bride.
Oh yeah.
And then what's the? There's a really weird one. Clifford, was it? Have you seen? It's Martin Short, and gosh dang it, I'm not gonna remember the actor's name. It is such a dark, fucked up comedy. It's crazy. It's really good though. But yeah, so those guys. But I never saw Three Amigos.
It's on Amazon. If you can check it out.
We may need to watch that. I bet you my son would like that.
Oh man, I remember watching it and it's still very funny, but it's a lot of I don't know. It's definitely aged because it's a lot of long gags.
Yeah.
But there are some really funny moments.
I think my kid would be, especially because he likes Only Murders. He'd probably be really into that. We should really check.
Oh yeah. There's a part where they're trying to sneak in somewhere, and Steve Martin's on a roof, and Martin Short and Chevy Chase are on the ground, and they're maybe 15 feet away from each other, so not far. And Steve Martin's on top of the building or whatever. He's just going hoo-doo, hoo-doo, like that. He's just then at the end he's like, look up here. He's just yelling, and they're both just they're still just pretending to be lookouts or whatever. There's a running gag where telegrams just find them wherever they are. They'll just be on the street, and the telegram will run up and be telegram for Mr. whatever. He's like, "Oh, thank you," and then he rides off, and it's
that's just continuum.
Where did he come from?
So did you like Monty Python and like that?
I did. I liked some Monty Python. Some of it was a little out far. I don't know, a little too weird for me. I really liked Holy Grail.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. What was that one that I was like?
I always like it in small doses. It's one of those I can't watch a lot of it, but when I watch an episode or two,
What was it? Flying Circus. I
Flying
think?
Circus,
That was,
Life of Brian.
Yeah.
John Cleese, I think, is as funny in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kid stuff, man. It's tough. Like there's a show, I'm not gonna remember it's a cartoon. It's like a Legends, like Hidden Falls or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But it's written by the same guys who did like a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and they
Is
wrote
it Gravity Falls?
Gravity Falls. Yeah, Gravity
that
Falls.
One's great.
That's
my kids were into that one. Loved it.
Yeah,
You know my favorite thing about it? 3 seasons, done.
yeah. So it's like what was the, gosh dang it, Last Man on Earth.
Yeah.
Will Forte. It's
Yeah,
the same directors who do that or who created that show also created Gravity Falls.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's like the really like that's when I was like watching this show and I'm just like watching it. I'm like, this is really good comedy. Like
Yeah.
this is very funny. Like jokes, These are,
Multi-level.
like,
yeah.
like great jokes that are hitting. So and then you're like, and then I looked it up. I was like, oh, it's because I can never remember that there are 2 dudes.
Oh man, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But I loved that show. There was an episode where like they go mini golfing.
Yeah,
And the golf balls are alive.
Yeah.
And each hole is like a different ethnicity of
a little
golf
stoned,
ball or
a
whatever.
little stoned watching that show is pretty great.
So funny.
Yeah,
so
it's-
funny. We Gravity Falls was big during the pandemic at our house.
I watched this the last like maybe half of the 3rd season. I only got to see some of it, and it was one of those things where I've been kind of like dropping hints of like, hey man, we should put that show on because I want to kind of watch the whole.
Whatever happened to
It's not my idea, but no, we've been watching King. He's like King of the Hill now, like a lot.
King of the Hill's great.
Well,
there's a lot of great. Like,
I'm enjoying it so much more as an adult because I remember watching it in the 90s, but I was so young. I knew it was funny, but I didn't catch a lot of the jokes everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think my son watches it the same way. I see him liking it and like not seeing how funny it really is. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Mike Judge, man, he's
Yeah.
what Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, My Name is Earl.
I'm thinking I need a day where like my wife is out to where me and my son can watch Beavis and Butthead Do America, because that movie,
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
pretty great.
So Beavis and Butthead was a little before my time.
So the show was before my time. The movie hit me right at the right time.
I understand, like, I've seen enough clips and stuff like that to get it and be like, okay, I understand why this was funny, and I understand, like, at the time it was, nobody had ever made a cartoon like that, kind of like, it was different, whatever, but I never really got into it.
I think it was one me and my dad both liked. Like my dad would enjoy it. Like so because we would get to watch certain movies when mom was out of town. She'd go on like these weekends.
Yeah.
And then it was like Chinese food, and then renting the movies, like scary movies, like The Thing, John Carpenter's Thing and shit. And then we would watch these comedies, and he got Beavis and Butthead Do America. And like we were both laughing at jokes, and that was rare for me and my dad, like for a movie like that. Like it's weird. But he kind of always had that sense of humor that way. So
my dad was always cool with watching action movies.
Yeah.
We could watch whatever we wanted to if it was like action.
Like Cliffhanger.
I remember seeing Die Hard at like a very young age.
See, I
remember
seeing one of the Die Hards. I don't know which one.
I forgot what it was. There was another one that we watched, and I remember.
I think Die Hard with a Vengeance was the first one I watched.
I think, that one's because that one's a lot of racial stuff in there too. Like that
I haven't
one's
watched that in so long.
Die Hard with a Vengeance, because that's the one with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And it starts with the bad guy calls the police station and says John McClane has to walk around Harlem with a sign that says, "I hate N-words." And
what do you mean N-words?
Yeah. Could you elaborate?
Can you be? I'm a little more specific.
What word? No, that he has to walk around. He has to walk around Harlem with a giant sign on him that says "I hate N-words," and that's how Samuel Jackson meets him. And he's like, "Do you want to die, motherfucker?" Like, and and then they become friends and save.
You should do
all
more
of New York.
Samuel L. Jackson impressions too.
Yeah,
Keep going, do that.
just keep going.
Just
do the whole movie. That's how this podcast ends. You play John McClane, and I'm Zeus from Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh shit!
I also do a pretty good Jeremy Irons, but that's I'd have to have a couple drinks in me.
I
before.
need you on the internet doing Samuel L. Jackson to live forever.
What is the best TV hospital?
TV hospital. Oh, Scrubs.
Yeah, so I believe it's called Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart. Yeah, Sacred Heart. Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, if you were injured and you could pick any TV hospital to go to, which one would you choose?
Sacred Heart.
I think
Is
so.
Zach Braff going to be doing a musical episode?
Yeah, Zach Braff and
Donald Faison.
yeah, what's the doctor's name?
John C. McGinley.
Yeah, what's his character's name?
Kelso. Not Kelso.
No,
Cox.
Cox. Yeah, Dr. Cox. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love Dr. Cox to come in and just be like, "You're fine, get out of here."
I remember. So Scrubs was 2001 is when that show came out. I was in 8th grade, and then I watched that, and then around like freshman year of college, I watched Garden State. And I was such a pussy. And I was like, Garden State's the best movie ever. And I still like that movie.
And everybody's like, the soundtrack is so good.
Yeah, it was. I was that perfect white bitch at that time.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
And then like anything Zach Braff has done since, I'm pretty on board with. But fucking Scrubs, that show. My wife won't let me watch it again. She's like, no. We've seen it enough.
My favorite joke, I remember the pilot episode. My favorite joke from the pilot episode is Zach Braff and what's the blonde girl's name? Dr. Elliot or whatever.
Yeah, Elliot. Yeah.
She's running up the stairs and he's behind her, and she stops and she goes, "I know what you're thinking," and it goes to his inner monologue and he's like, "Your butt looks like two Pringles hugging," like that, and I remember just laughing so hard. and then she's like, "You think I'm just a doctor because like that," and he's like, "Oh, that's what I was thinking."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's so." I don't know why, but I remember that joke being like, "Oh, this show's funny."
It was really good. I've watched it, so I really have. It was one of those things where in college, it was on syndication, and so and we didn't have cable at the colleges I went to, so that was like one that you could count on for like an hour of good TV. It was like, all right. Let's just keep watching Scrubs through.
Oh, Scrubs is on? Dope. Okay.
Yeah, it became, and then you started like, you'd be walking down hallways in college and other rooms would have it on. It was like the best.
I can't do it all by myself.
Yeah, that show. Have you seen Shrinking on Apple?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's Bill Lawrence as well. And Jason Segel. And holy shit, that show is fucking great. It is the best Jason Segel I've seen in forever. Harrison Ford's in it. Harrison Ford is fucking hilarious. It's so goddamn frustrating to know that guy is so fucking talented. He's so funny in that show. So goddamn funny in that show.
What?
It is insane. It's such a great show. It's such a good watch.
Man, I saw this on an Instagram clip the other day. But it was these guys and they were talking about some famous actress, and I can't remember. Dang! It would make it such a better clip if I could tell you who it was.
No.
But anyway,
good thing we smoked before this.
Yeah,
This is definitely
such a. Anyway, this famous actress, she goes to the movies, whatever. They just go see Star Wars. They don't know what it is. They're like, whatever. And Harrison Ford comes on screen, and this lady stands up and goes, "That's my weed dealer!" Like that.
Yeah.
Points at Harrison Ford. I was like, "That's a good. That's a good story.
That's a fucking great story.
That's a fun story."
Oh man, that dude is. I mean,
What would be the worst hospital to go to though?
Oh fuck, Grey's Anatomy.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, Grey's Anatomy, because someone's either gonna sexually assault you or you're gonna die in the most ridiculous way possible.
If you're at the MASH hospital though, you're not doing great.
No, but at least like certain hijinks will occur, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You have Alan Alda there, which is nice.
yeah.
But like,
that's such a man.
Okay, so ER, you get to look at Clooney and Stamos, so that's great. That's a perk.
Julianne Margulies.
Yeah. Sure, her too. But
but also Clooney.
Or young Clooney. I mean, not bad.
Caesar haircut Clooney. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It also, yeah, great. What other hospitals are there though?
I don't know. I don't know that many because I'm not a super big.
Those like there's new one. I know like there's a Chicago hospital show now. I don't watch any of
Chicago
that
Med.
shit.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
watch any of that
No.
shit either. So I don't know. I haven't watched that. So
I
yeah,
can't
it's got to be
say.
great.
It's all the same. Great. Oh yeah,
Give me John Stamos over Dr. McDreamy any day.
Oh, for sure.
Right, like that's so better.
Young Clooney, even the Goose from Top Gun, because he was a doctor on that show.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
I was young for that show. I caught some of it. My parents really liked it. But
I remember it because I watched ER and then I watched Top Gun, and I remember being like, "Hey, is that the doctor?" And they were like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, he used to be a fighter pilot too," and they're like,
"This guy's impressive. He
actor.
died."
Yeah. Wow, and he came back. He hit that canopy really hard. Did you see his neck snap? And he can play the piano. And he's married to Meg Ryan. You just keep going.
Just your form of autism.
Yeah. You can't differentiate between film and real life, and you're just
But
like,
there's people who really have.
you bump into Mel Gibson on the street, and you're just like, William Wallace? I thought you were drawn and quartered. What?
Can you still hear what women think?
Yes, and it's so annoying.
Could you imagine being like Tom Cruise's Rayman to that of just that's your brother of like oh god damn it.
Oh man.
And you like just you won't move out of LA. You're like we gotta get out of this fucking town. I can't like every fucking 10 feet.
Nope, I gotta see what happens.
Eric, come on, Eric, Jesus.
I'm sitting there counting on my fingers. Quentin Tarantino was born in 1950. Can you imagine how terrible it would be if you could actually hear what women think? Oh. I feel like I would be the most self-conscious man on the planet because you know how many times my wife, who loves me more than anyone else in the world, looks at me with like, why would you do that? Like that. If I could hear her inner monologue of like, God, he's a creature, but I love it. You know, like I think it would destroy me.
My wife said to me the other day, she goes, I just forgot something. I forget stuff all the time. It's a fun side effect of being bipolar. Fucking great, right? And she looked at me and she's like, how do you function in the world? And I'm like, I go, I've been like this my whole life. And she's like, yeah, I know. Like, just what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I go, well, I have you, so that helps. But like, yeah, it's bad.
I told my wife that I used to give numbers personalities because I'm really bad at math. And I didn't really understand it. And I was like, okay, so
we see the studio. We know you're bad at math.
yeah, exactly. Yes. You're very bad with money. Math. Yeah. No, I used to give numbers personalities, and like I explained it to her and how each digit from 1 to 10 had its own unique personality. And then every additional number after that was like a combination of the two original personalities. And
that's pretty fascinating, actually.
Well, she didn't think so. She looked at me like I was an insane person.
Well, you are. That's true. If it's fair.
That is true. And then she told a counselor one time, and the counselor was like, what?
No, that's...
Could you explain that? And I explained it all, and she went, huh. And then she like just got out her pen and pad and just started like writing something. And I was like, all right, okay, let's not.
But that's... So that's fucking fascinating though.
Ever since then though, every time I go to a counseling session, it's like a chess match now where I'm like, if I tell you this, what are you doing? Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's all parenthood is too, by the way. Or like any kind your marriage in general. Like, so I feel like if we're just playing a game of who had a worse childhood and like we're like, well, why do you do that? You're like, well, because that's what was done to me. And she's like, oh, that sucks. You're like, that's bad. I'm like, oh, is that not good?
Yeah.
Is that not like,
what?
Like,
have you ever done something as a parent, like maybe like as a discipline thing, and then you found out from your spouse, like, hey, that's not cool.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
You're like, oh, really? That was like normal standard practice at our house.
Yes, yeah.
And then she's like, no, we will not be doing that. And you're like, oh,
it is fun to tell like trauma stories that like you just associate. Like you're like, oh, because that happens to all of us.
Yeah.
And then your spouse just looking at you like, no. I found out, this is the one that pissed me off, was, so my son was like 6, and And I've had good parents. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I preface this. My parents
have been great. They were awesome.
My parents are the shit.
Thank you guys for hanging out. We appreciate it.
But this one is like, so and my kid's 6 years old and he's like in first grade. He's getting homework for the first time. And you're like, okay. And my wife would be sitting there doing homework with him. And I'm like, that's his homework. Let him do that. Let him do that. And then like after like a week, maybe 2 weeks of me like, will you stop? She turned and she's like, he's 6. He doesn't know how to do homework, idiot. And I'm like, oh. I was like, wait. I was like, wait.
We're not demanding perfection from the get-go?
Wait, hold on. Do you get taught how to do homework? And she goes, yeah, that's how you learn. Somebody has to teach you how to do homework. I was like, could I have been good at school? And she's like, maybe. I'm like, oh, shit.
I could have been a contender, Ma. Fuck. I could have been somebody.
Never. I never had help with homework one time, ever. And then they would be pissed because I always have like, no. I'd never turn it in. I'd just be like, nah.
I did. I would get help with it, but it was because they realized I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And they were like, so we have to sit here and watch you or you won't complete it. And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
So I just wouldn't do it still. And like still every day. They'd be like, how did you do this again? Like, because you don't give a fuck. Because you don't care. I don't care. Saved by the Bell's on. I don't know if you've ever seen Kelly Kapowski, but
exactly, dude. I was a bit of a Lisa Turtle man myself, but yeah, Kelly
Lisa Turtle's for sure the number 2.
Jessie had her moments. Jessie wasn't bad. Jessie was not bad at all. But no, obviously Kelly Kapowski, the Pink Ranger, Topanga, like they were all, I mean, very crucial in my early developmental years. Yeah. But then I remember as a, you know, after like it had stopped airing, I would go back and watch that show when I was the same age as they were. And I remember being like, oh, Lisa Turtle's kind of got to go.
Oh, yeah. Lisa Turtle, as you get older, Lisa Turtle becomes, but Kelly Kapowski's never not like, she's still Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah, she's still Kelly Kapowski. Yeah.
Did you watch the Nickelodeon doc? Did you watch that shit?
No.
It's weird, like, watching documentaries like that of, like, when you were a kid shows. And I bet you Saved by the Bell would be another interesting one to do. But, like, no, that was a really sexualized show about, like, children. Like, that, it was highly sexualized.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They were like, adults had to make that. Like, it's old people had to make that show. It
wasn't 16-year-olds in a room like, okay, what is the gang going to get into this week? It was, like, 30-year-olds who were like, what did we do in high school? And then guys are like, I just remember being really horny all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, I wish I could have paused the world and talked to a camera. You know, it's like...
we should have 15-year-old girls in here.
We watched...
fucking gross. I don't know. That's the shit that makes me...
I watched even Boy Meets World. I remember...
Boy Meets World is so good.
We went back and watched it with the kids. And the first couple years, great, awesome. But as soon as they hit... like season 3, season 4, they're in like high school.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And it's immediately like sex. Like it's so.
But also though, that's an interesting thing though. Making teen shows is you are highly sexual at that age, right? Like that's a weird, but like so it's like the storylines aren't outrageous necessarily, but it is weird that like how certain shows are made and the choices they make and whatever, right? Like it becomes like
I feel like they keep escalating.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
But that Nickelodeon doc, like looking that shit was, you're like, oh shit, like was my childhood. I do remember all this shit, and you're like, I remember Ray Romano eating a hot dog out of a glory hole. You know, like that shit. Fucking hilarious. It's funny then, hilarious now. Like it's fucking.
You're the only one who watched the doc, and you were like. That was good TV, all right? That was damn good TV.
It was from my point of view, Ray Romano eating out of a glory hole, I'm always in for. Just putting that out there.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
No, but that's the, yeah, man.
It has definitely, I feel like it's ramped up over the years. Like it started.
Like the Degrassi shit and all that, yeah.
Yeah, it went from Boy Meets World to Degrassi.
But that's not true. 90210 was that thing.
That's true. And Clueless. And
if you go back Alicia Silverstone and Clueless. See, this is what sucks.
I was more of a Paul Rudd guy.
If I saw Clueless today as a 38-year-old man and go, yeah, but I was 12 at the time.
Yeah, that's what I've talked about is that my attraction to Topanga started on an episode where she gets her hair cut. And in that episode, she's like 13 years old. But when I saw that episode, I was 8.
Yeah.
So it's not creepy.
Yeah.
Because she's still an older woman.
Yeah.
Even when I watch it now, I'm 34. She's still technically 13.
This is so
Never mind.
She's technically 13, and this is
but she's still an older woman.
She's going to be on the internet.
This is what brings me down in 6 years. Yeah. My glory.
She was old enough to know better. All right, Eric. Wow.
They're going to cancel me and take away my tapestries. Oh, no. Oh, no. My patio furniture. Don't take my empire I built.
Do you have a text thread of like, I just randomly text my friends fucked up shit because they're pretty affluent guys. I just always want to make sure that I have something, like if they become a politician, that I can be like, you laughed at this.
Yeah, you got one in your back pocket?
Yeah. Just one of those, like, you're going to pay me off, motherfucker. Like,
I did see a video recently, though, of a guy reacting to a clip of Boy Meets World when Topanga was young. And then it cuts to him, and, like, he pans the phone over, and she's, like, next to him.
Oh, yeah.
Still got it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's
Danielle Fishel.
Yeah.
She was in a National Lampoon movie, like Dorm Days or something like that.
I saw it.
Yeah.
It was a horrific movie.
Terrible movie.
Absolutely terrible.
But
no reason.
Watch it all 90 minutes.
Oh, yeah, because you're like, what if...
But Topanga might get naked in this.
Yeah, like Topanga might show her
Topanga might get naked.
That's all people did. That's the only reason.
Little Dicky has a joke about that.
Does he?
Yeah, I think in Professional Rapper, he goes something about like jerking off to Topanga, but like 14-year-old Topanga or something like that is the lyric. But it's like that. It's that one. I think it's the one that Snoop Dogg's on. It's a good line. It's a good joke in that rap as well. You're like, oh shit, that's clever as fuck. Because there's 40-year-old men now who have to be like, yeah, Topanga was hot.
She is.
Like, yeah.
She was, still is. I mean.
Boy Meets World was a great. That was one of the. I think that's if you were like, hey, go watch a show that felt like the '90s to you.
I think
Boy Meets World would, I think, hit that out of the park.
The reason I love Boy Meets World so much is the same reason I liked Scrubs, is because it's like it's a comedy, but some episodes were serious.
Yeah, there was.
And it's like, hey, It's like, hey, we're not gonna beat the dead horse. If this is a serious subject, it's a serious subject. It doesn't always end on a laugh, you know. And you're like, oh. That's
do you remember also, like, so Saved by the Bell used to do that shit, like the Jesse famous episode of the film.
I'm so excited.
There was a drunk driving one, all that kind of stuff, and it didn't deter me at all.
Yeah, and they're like, this will get kids to stop. Instead, you're like,
no. I have access to alcohol and wheels. Well, let's go.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
It didn't stop Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
It didn't stop me. That is one of my favorite videos going around right now is the people reacting to drinking and driving becoming illegal.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a guy who's like, you mean to tell me I can't get off work and have a couple beers on the drive home? This is ridiculous. I work 9 to 5 and I can't drink 6 beers on my drive home.
Allegedly, this weekend I was camping.
Allegedly,
I was camping this weekend, and one of our propane tanks got fucked up, and so because we were cooking on the Blackstone. So we ran back into town in just middle of nowhere, Missouri. And allegedly, 75 degree out, windows down, playing music, maybe had a road beer or two. And God damn it was the best beer I've had in forever.
I mean,
just the absolute, just perfect beer, sundown, driving with a couple of my buddies. And I was sober. It wasn't like I was fucked up. But God damn it was a good fucking beer.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
There was one time when I was in the military and we went to a wedding for one of our buddies. And so we all had on our like fancy dress uniforms, like the black, the collar and the gold buttons, ribbons, everything. And we were all pretty hammered. Allegedly.
Well, you're probably out of statute of limits there. I don't think. And who's going to arrest a goddamn hero? Who's going to arrest a hero?
A car full of heroes.
Yeah, car full of heroes.
We pull up to the base. We had to stop and get gas, and we pull up to the base, And I remember everybody, I like turned around and I was like, all right, everybody, come on, get it together. Let's go. We're pulling up to the gate. They're going to check IDs. We got to like,
Yeah. Lock this shit in.
let's go. Come on. Game time, you know? And everybody allegedly, you know, it's like sat up straight and we were all standing there and we handed him our IDs and he was like looking at us and like looking at our IDs. And then he like shined the light on the floorboard and there was allegedly a couple empty dead soldiers down there, you know? And he goes, can I ask you a question? And I was like, what's that? He goes, you know your gas cap's open? And I had driven off without putting the gas cap on or closing. So it had just been flapping as we went down the highway. And we were just like, He's like, where you headed? And we're like, home. He's like, good. Have a good night, fellas.
Yeah.
And we were like, drove off like, oh, stupid cop. You know, like,
but like... Was that so? Was it MP? Was it military police?
Yeah.
It was
so
like
he totally would not have cared at all if he was. But it's like it.
But I'm saying, like, that's the interesting part to me of being like, here's another possible 20-year-old checking another 20-year-old back into.
Oh yeah.
I'm going like, it probably going to be like, dude, you fucking idiot, get home.
There was two different things that could happen. You could pull up to the gate and there would be an actual MP there, and they were always dicks. They were always like bad guys. They had nothing better to do.
They're the school monitor at fucking.
If you come in like late enough, what they do is they would take guys who are like, say you had 6 months left on your contract.
Yeah.
You don't have enough time left to deploy. You don't really want to do another like workup, like training exercise.
So this is what you're doing.
So you're like, hey, I'll go work six 12-hour shifts at the hut to get on base and check IDs if you guys need me to. And they're like, all right, you go fill that in for the next 6 months and then leave. And
that guy's pretty much.
And that guy, luckily when we pulled up, we got a guy who had been like in our unit and was like 3 months away from leaving. And he was just kind of like, just get out of here, man.
A bonfire or like a good drinking hang with a bunch of like a couple generations of military. Best fucking stories.
Oh,
and then like you think about, like you're like, yeah, the military is just a bunch of highly like 18-year-old kids so jacked up on testosterone.
Oh, the most.
Doing the fucking craziest shit. Like just like how many combat jacks are happening? That's why I think you guys are heroes. Is that you jerked off back to back with somebody.
Yeah.
And you're like that's crazy.
No,
but it seems also like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. I think I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I just like, hey, that's a bonding experience, you know?
That's my cousin's a Marine, and he goes, yeah, you never waste good wood. Yeah, you never waste good wood. And I'm like, God, that's fact.
Yeah, you never know. You're like, this could be my last one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh, well, let her rip.
It's okay, Bubba. You just lean against me. I'll lean against you.
We don't have to jack with our heads in the mud. Yeah. That's exactly what it's like. I used to, when I first started comedy, I used to have a joke about how it's like, I hate it when frat boys say that they're brothers, because it's like, you're not brothers. You don't know what it sounds like when your buddy's jacking off 6 inches away from you.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's the proximity that's happening.
When you're in a bathroom stall that has no dividing door and you're just trying to look forward and you just see feet.
Yeah,
like this jiggling, and you're like,
It's not.
All right, I know what's happening.
It's a proximity thing in numbers, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because all guys experience that in college. If you go to college and you like, or you have guy roommates, is you get to that, but you maybe have 2 roommates and you have your own room. You have your privacy, your little jerk hut.
And even if you share a bathroom, like there's a bathroom at the end of the hall,
right?
There's like there's the shower part, and then there's like a little changing part, and it's like you still have privacy.
Right. But it's the sheer number of fucking hormone-ridden boys in a room.
Oh, yeah.
And just all of them jerking off. All of them jerking off, and the amount of...
The peak, I mean, just
I
imagine.
get why your sheets are so stiff and straight and nice.
Yeah. It's not... We don't want them to be. That's just... They've broken, you know? Like, they just fell. But I always used to joke about that with, like... that I was like, I could walk into almost any room on the planet, and I know that I've seen more penises than any other man in that room. You know,
unless you just met like a 70-year-old queen.
That is true.
Just like,
if it was
listen, honey,
Elton John or Pee Wee Herman, maybe not. But I would say on average, you find me a gay man, chances are I've seen more penises in
like one.
IRL than
Yeah.
him. No, like I mean collectively, because I think I mean maybe 1,300 somewhere around there.
You're in the penis HOF.
Yeah. I'm pulling in some big numbers.
My
you know what I mean?
my son he was doing swim lessons at the YMCA, and he got his first old naked man in the shower experience.
Ah, yeah.
And it was like the perfect old man. Like he was just bulbous.
The egg-shaped body
Yeah,
up
the egg,
top,
yeah, perfect
with
egg shape,
skinny legs,
skinny
yeah.
legs, and he was like crunched over, scrubbing. And my son walks into the shower and he turns real fast and just stares at me. I'm like, "You got to do it, buddy. This is a part of life. I don't know what. I'm happy I get to experience this for the first time with you, but like you got to take a shower and you got to go get ready for swim practice.
Welcome to the world.
Welcome
son.
to the world."
Yeah.
And so we're like, "Did you look at him anymore?" And my son's like, "No." And I go, "Do you?" And he goes, "He had a hairy butt." And I was like, I looked at him. I couldn't take my eyes off him.
Yeah.
I stared so intently, just like I'm looking into my future, just going like, that's coming for me.
Yeah.
Just giant balls.
There's nothing you can do.
I'm
It
trying
happens
to
to all of us.
This is me doing my best. I'm at the Y taking care of myself, and that's how I'm going to look. And it's going to be.
I started, man. I got real into it, and I was like, I'm getting back into it. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna eat right. I'm gonna get back into shape and stuff like that. On the way up here, I was like, ooh, Casey's Pizza. You know, like, and that's a coffee,
Casey's
a coffee and a
Casey's
slice
breakfast
of cake.
pizza. If you can drive past a Casey's breakfast pizza,
Well, it was 6
That
o'clock at
is-
night, so I mean, like, it's not.
Yeah.
Casey's breakfast pizza and the PM.
but I'm saying
is
like if you're
definitely-
ranking Casey's pizza, breakfast pizza,
yeah, that's
that-
actually one of the
Ca-
questions I had was like, what's the best gas station pizza? Like Hunt Brothers,
It's Casey.
Godfathers.
It's Casey's without. Casey's
Yeah.
with the number. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, and it's their breakfast. It's a breakfast pizza for sure. That coffee, that breakfast pizza. That's
Yeah,
It's a hard one to beat.
If
I
we
mean-
were gonna stack up pepperonis, I would have to go Godfathers. They sell those in a lot of like Hucks and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I would have to go Godfather if we were going pepperoni, but I mean like specialty like breakfast pizza.
That's
Casey's, hands down.
That's
Yeah.
that's the big dick in the room for sure.
Oh yeah, he walks in the locker room and everybody else is like, whoa,
yeah.
okay.
That's
Whoa.
Yeah,
You're messing with bell peppers and egg? Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
it's
Somebody's.
oh man, that's gas station food. In college, we had a 7-Eleven literally right outside our back door. It was bad, just Arizona teas and
Oh, yeah.
and
I love an Arizona
But
tea.
the sucky part was this town we were in was dry. Like it's a township in Chicago, and it was so like you couldn't buy booze at the 7-Eleven. So that may have saved my life. But
Probably.
yeah, I mean, but like
You still got it. but it was-
taquitos and just the worst shit at 2 a.m.
There's something about making it more difficult that I think you appreciate after a while. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, when you get older, you're like, yeah, I'm glad that wasn't easily accessible.
Yeah.
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 It was, yeah.
My
Like
dick's, my dick's easily accessible. I haven't stopped. I can't stop myself. No matter what I do, I can't.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
So
Let's see. Let's switch. Let's go over here. Oh, best way to tell if somebody's a bad person. We got a picture of drinking while pregnant, abandoning your shopping cart, or littering.
that's it. For me, it's abandoning your shopping cart.
Yeah, that's mine too. That's so weird that people in like a certain generation, like us, that's our big thing. Like littering's bad. And
Littering's-
drinking while you're pregnant is bad, but at the same time, it doesn't annoy me as much as leaving your shopping cart. I don't know why that bothers me so much.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's the thing that I go out of my way to make sure I'll put another cart away. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's like
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those things of like, hey,
Yeah.
I've also worked at Schnucks and those guys pushing carts, like that shit's not fun, especially in the pouring rain and all that shit. It's a fucking shit move to fucking leave your cart out. Littering, I kind of get a bit like it's not the best thing in the world. You shouldn't do it. But also, at this point, we're fucked. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your litter. Like, it's not great. That's on you.
Yeah,
that's what you want to live in. That's on you. But, like, also, again, that goes back to your hierarchy of need shit.
Now, what if someone...
But drinking pregnant, like, that kid's going to have a shitty life already. Like, if that's in the realm of possibility.
If you're the type of person that has to be told, like, hey, you shouldn't be drinking when you're pregnant,
your
kid's already,
that kid's
like,
fucked.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's you're like, all right.
They don't care anymore.
Yeah, they don't care.
But...
and at least fetal alcohol syndrome, you look interesting. You know?
I mean, it might give you a bigger head. You know what I mean? It might make you a little bit smarter.
That's maybe the worst thing I fucking said.
You could get a Dan Soder out of it. You know, we all love Dan. Every comic loves Dan. The world could use a couple more Dans.
Jesus,
Dan
Soder.
I don't know him. This is going to be like the one thing he ever sees of mine, and then it's like, I heard you were talking shit. And be like, no.
Dan Soder is the funniest motherfucker.
Yeah.
His dead dad jokes, like, just, they hurt. It makes me in pain how much I laugh at that shit. Oh, God, it's so fucking funny. like hurtful. You remember Michael Myers, who was at Sneaky's?
Yeah.
Dude, I watched his YouTube special the other night. Fucking great.
Is he?
Fucking, like, it is one of the best hours I've watched.
He was a cool guy.
Like, those, like, you watch specials, and I think probably you get to a point where it's hard not to, like, watch, like, mechanics almost, like, not necessarily, like, by getting, like, taught into, like, content. And his mechanics are crazy good, but the fucking content itself, like, I was laughing hard by myself, like, just, like, going to sleep at night, and I couldn't turn it off. I watched the whole fucking thing. Such a good fucking special.
That says a lot.
Yeah, like, it was so fucking good.
I start a lot of specials.
Yes. Yeah.
I start a lot of specials. I don't finish a lot of specials.
Michael Myers one. It's Michael Myers performs comedy for
Where's
regular
it at?
people. It's on YouTube, but here's the thing. That's a long title. Michael Myers comedy. Pick the one that's not, murdering somebody or trying to hit on Elizabeth Berkley. Like, that's, you'll see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Dude, that guy was killed that night, but that special, that's the hardest I've laughed at a special in a fucking minute.
Did I tell you that after we did that show at Sneaky's, a couple weeks later or whatever, he got into, like, a car accident on Instagram, and he, like, posted pictures after that.
I saw something about, like, he's like, a back pain and stuff. I didn't know that. I missed.
And he posted the pictures, and I didn't recognize his handle, but I saw Michael, like, M. And there's another guy I know named Michael M. that does comedy or whatever. And so I thought it was this guy I've known for 6 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, that probably wouldn't have happened if you weren't driving like a douchebag. Like, oh, what an idiot. That's what you get for being a, like, and just all these hateful messages that you would send to a buddy. And then the next morning, like, I woke up and he just had, like, the reaction to all of them. Like, why would you say, and I was like, oh my gosh, man, I'm so sorry. I thought this was for somebody else. I don't mean that at all.
You trolled the nicest human being I've talked to in 10 years.
I was trashing him, and he didn't say anything back. He didn't say anything mean
You
back.
talked to him for 30 seconds.
I met him one night. He followed me on stage, and then I was like, hey, great set, man. He was like, oh, you too. And then that was it. That was the only, and we followed each other on Instagram.
And then you just trolled the shit
out
of him.
And a week later, the most tragic thing
I'm so happy this happened to you.
Yeah. I'm glad your car got destroyed. I hope you lose gigs because of it. Just saying things you'd say
shit.
to another comic.
Well,
and then I was like, oh, no. I woke up in the morning. And I was like, I can't tell you how sorry I am, man. I thought this was another comic that I'd known for a really long time, and he would have appreciated his jokes.
You probably should put his handle on here on this episode.
Michael Myers,
yeah. You probably should put it. Give him a little bit of, like, send this guy some hate.
Just
really let him know that down here in St. Louis, we think he's a real piece of shit.
Yeah. Hey, Mike. I'm glad you hit a deer. It's like he's got
hate from St. Louis, bitch.
Yeah, sending hate.
He was so fucking nice.
Yeah, he's the best. He was him and Chris Tranny, both great guys. So nice to talk to. So fun to be around.
Hey man, it was really nice meeting you.
I was
just so happy when you got in the car.
Immediately, just like, I'm glad this happened to you. I hope you lose out on future gigs. Just tearing it like. Because I know my buddy Michael, who I've known for years, would be like, "This is hilarious." They're like, ha 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 ha.
The
I don't know if I told you this, but Ronaldo, I messaged Ronaldo because he just moved to Austin.
yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he listed off. He was like, "We got here. I did 6 sets this, over 2 days. I really impressed, someone at this place. I got booked for a showcase here, and then I got asked to do like 3 more shows off of this one show. My car got towed, and blah, 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 blah." And then he like listed the 4 things. And I just said, "Oh, I love that your car got towed."
Yeah, that's appropriate to a friend.
All the things.
I love that you're. Yeah, that's the right thing to fucking say.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying. Yeah, it brought me joy.
It brought me joy to know you're suffering. It's not super great for you.
So I don't know much because I'm newer at this shit. We went down to Austin. That's the reason I started doing comedy, because we did a trip down there and like just went to all those different mics and stuff like that. Ronaldo's gonna fucking crush.
Yeah,
Ronaldo's gonna fucking like.
Yeah,
Ronaldo is he's fucking great.
Yes.
Like
okay, let's preface this. If you're a comic and you're in Austin and you're listening, there are lots of great comics in Austin.
But
there are also
this guy
lots of unfunny comics in Austin.
Yeah.
That just started comedy and were like, "I'm gonna move to the comedy capital of the world." He's gonna stand out.
He's gonna stand out because
He's funny. He's paid his dues. He's been doing this.
Yeah, he's been doing
6 years, 6.5 years.
When I heard he's moving to Austin, I was really stoked for him because I'm like, that guy. Especially. Excuse me. God, that beer's great. It tastes better on the burp. Yeah, like if he gets on Kill Tony, right? Like he'll have a good set on Kill Tony.
He'll have a good set and he'll be ready.
And he'll be. He is. Yeah, the way he writes is, but really just how he is on stage and everything. I think he legitimately had fans at the last Helium open mic I went to.
Yeah.
I was in the back of the room.
They came to see him. And it threw him off because he's like, "Oh, are you guys making fun of me?" And I was like, "They're like, no, Ronaldo."
I was like, "No, dude, this is how good you are." Like they actually came because of you.
Because they were like, "Oh, Ronaldo might be there tonight."
Yeah, like that's hard to fucking do.
Which makes me laugh because
shit.
I know him well enough to know how uncomfortable that would make him. The fact that they actually came to see him and he was like, "Okay, all right, I just want to tell my jokes," and so that's what makes me enjoy it.
It's he's that guy. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for Bobby J to move down there.
Yeah.
It's Bobby did Anti-Bar. He did well. Fucking crush. Fucking murder.
Oh, of course.
Another guy that just is funny.
Bobby is just like a little ball. He's like a ball of energy.
He's who he is on stage too. Like it's what I like. Anytime you're authentic on stage, I'm like, "Oh, this guy."
He's authentic. Yeah. However he is on stage is exactly how he is in person. Just like, "What's up, guys? What do you want to do?" Like, and like
he's kind. He's very generous. He's he's one of those, like, I like that. It was a fun time when he was out at Anti-Bar. We hung out after that guy. These guys aren't like, they're getting work too. You see them getting work here and getting featuring sets and those things.
I tell you, man,
there's some good St. Louis comedy, man. Like, obviously,
three things you need. The 3 things you need to be successful in comedy: be likable, be professional, be funny. Be likable, like, you know what I mean? Like, just be a decent guy to be around.
Yeah, I've heard you say this before, yeah.
Be professional, show up on time, dress appropriately, learn the servers' names, learn the announcements, whatever you got to do, then be funny. If you go up on stage and you're likable and you're professional, but you bomb, you're still going to get booked again because you did the other 2.
Yeah.
But if you go up and say you're likable and you're funny, but you always show up late, you're not dressed appropriately, you're not professional, you're not going to get work. You know what I mean? Like, it takes...
We were saying that kind of earlier about observation I had about, I've seen comics not act like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, like, just as somebody newer in the scene, and I'm older, so that's always the different part too of, like, a lot of these guys are 10, 15 years younger than me. And we're all around the same age as far as, like, starting like comedy. So, like, I'm starting comedy around the same time they are, but I'm X older, and, like, seeing who talks to people in ways and stuff like that. Like, you see it and you're like, "Oh yeah, you're just a good, like, you're nice, you're professional." And you see the ones who are just, like, a little rough around the edges on it, and you're just like, "Oh, that sucks."
I recently watched a club manager come up to there's been a comedian who for a while is like, "Man, I want to get booked. I want to do this. I want to do these shows. I hope they ask me soon. I hope they talk to me, blah, blah, blah," and then I saw a club manager come up to this comedian and they were like, "Hey, could you work, this weekend?" And they were like, "I mean, I guess maybe I could just. I think I don't have anything."
Yeah.
They just they hid their eyes
Yeah.
and they started just talking real low, like behind their hair.
And
And
of
I'm
course,
like,
if you're doing this, everybody wants that opportunity.
yeah,
Right. Like everybody wants that opportunity. Yeah. It's a weird.
yeah. But it was like, oh, come on, man, this is your opportunity. Just look them in the eye. Just look them in the eye and be like, yes, I thank you so much for considering.
But again,
me.
it goes back to a lot of the comedy does attract people who are not good in those moments of confrontation or X, Y, and Z, because
Yeah,
that is a
that's true.
confrontational moment. Yeah, it's that's I don't know. It's the professional thing. The professional thing to me is always it's not even professional. I just think it's human decency of just being you just be nice.
Yeah,
you
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
it's
a
nice to
time.
meet you.
There's a
Oh.
time to shit on Eric, and there's a time to be like, oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
very nice of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very, I don't know. The getting booked at clubs. I have such a different view on it because I want that stuff, but I also, have so much other going on. It's I'm not putting in the work.
Yeah,
To be I don't deserve that spot either.
Well, see,
it's it's one of those. Hey, the people who are putting in work and doing the things right, they should get those spots. I'm doing what I can when I can. It's just not the time for me to even try.
It took me probably 2.5 years before I was consistently doing clubs. And even then, and when I say consistently,
just
I
wanna be
mean
on stage. it's just
maybe every 3 months getting a weekend or whatever, and then it kind of slowly ramped up. But that was a lot of VFWs, sports pubs,
good rooms for comedy. That's all I care
bars.
about.
Yeah.
If you find a good room for comedy, in my some of the open mics around the city, it's one of those they're not it's hard for me to go say I want to go do that mic and not actually get legitimate feedback on what I'm working on, because all I know is everything that I'm going to tell I know has to be trimmed down, but I don't know where that's at if the room's always silent.
Exactly.
Right? It's going and you could be like, well, the room's silent, you're fucking up. It's well, no, it's comics who've heard this bit 4 times already.
Yes.
And
if the entire
and
open
God
mic-
love them. I think they're trying their best, but I don't pay attention after I've heard the joke 4 times.
Oh,
and
no.
and if I haven't edited or trimmed it or done something different with it, so it's it's very. So to me, it's picking my spot to be when is this going to be a good room to be able to actually do this? Because I'm trying to do this in once a week type approach, than what to not get divorced.
yeah,
you'd be
that's
all
the
right.
name of the game. That's the hardest part about being married and having kids and trying to do comedy is okay, I need to go out, I need to put in the reps, but I also have to be around. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I also have to.
The problem with starting comedy in your late 30s is you have a mortgage, you fucking idiot.
Exactly.
You've committed to a lot of money,
Exactly.
and you now.
You committed to a nomadic lifestyle,
Yeah.
and you have so much tying you down.
Yeah, you're oh boy, this
Yeah.
is real dumb, but I think I'm kind of good at this.
Whoa, whoa,
it seems
whoa.
to be strangers like to hear about my dick, and
I don't know why, straight. I don't know why.
no, it's that's the best. There's some great mics, there's some great comics, but I think when you're funny, it doesn't matter what location you're in, right? There's good talent probably everywhere. Austin's definitely a place you'll get noticed though, which is
Oh,
I think
yeah,
dope. And it's
100%.
you're Ronaldo's got that, and Bobby J. They both have that shot of really becoming probably road dogs for a while and
That's the goal.
getting consistent work, which is making money to do comedy. It's pretty fucking great.
That's the
Pretty
goal.
fucking great.
That's what I'm trying to do right
Yeah.
now is I'm trying to expand my radius of I've gotten the pass from all the clubs in St. Louis. I've done feature weekends at all of the places that I can check in the box here. Okay, now I need to start doing Nashville and Cincinnati and Chicago.
But you
and-
also have a lot of opportunity to get that shit tight before you do it.
yeah.
That's those longer sets are so vital for being able to say, okay, I know these 3 bits work, but how can I come in and out of those bits? That type of shit.
What's the best order?
What's the best order? What can I
Yeah.
can I transition better
How do I
into?
segue?
Yeah.
I don't like this setup. It could be
Right.
better. It could feel fresher and crisper. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because sometimes you start a joke and you've been doing it for, 2 years and it's a good joke. It still works, but it's I'm bored of it.
I was a bitch tonight. I pussied out on a second part of a bit.
Ah.
It was one of those, like, it was.
I do that. I did that Sunday. I did a show under a tent for Smokes and Jokes, and I started the joke and it did well in the beginning, and then I could see it was kind of like dying, and there was still like another maybe a minute left in the joke, minute and a half, and I was like, I bailed. I pivoted. But I
think that's the thing of, like, I think
that's the smart thing to do, though. It's like,
I don't know. There's times where I think if you know that stuff has worked in rooms, I'm saying if you know it's worked, that you can say, well, let me sit in this for a second and let me see if I give them enough time and space to get on board with me.
Yeah.
Like, I think you can do
feel
that.
It out. But
but there's also times where you're like, oh shit. But it's that.
I think what's paranoid, or what makes me paranoid, is that I've seen enough comedians at open mics that just beat the audience to death with a joke that's not working. And they just keep going and keep hitting, and everybody hates it. And they keep going, going, and you're just like,
but
do you not get this?
Has that joke also not worked in every other room they've told it in?
Some of them, yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's moments where you're like, you have to try it a couple different places, of course.
I definitely believe that. I will always try out like a new bit 3 or 4 times as a certain way. And then I'm like, okay, I think there's something there, but it wasn't really getting a reaction in 3 of the 4 places I tried it.
Yeah.
Let me change the wording up.
Yeah.
Let me reverse the order. Let me play around with it. Then you try it out again in like 3 more places. And then you're like, oh, okay, there's something a little more this time. And then you tweak, it's just like you tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak, and then you finally have something.
It's like also I find like when you get good segues of like going like, oh, that tag from this joke actually can work better. Like, I got pops on this tag here, but it never really, like, getting into that tag never made sense. This actually makes a little more sense getting into a tag. So I still have it's another part of a beat. Rather like this will be the 3rd funny beat and this will be the 4th funny beat. Right? Like going like compared to going, well, this is kind of pause into, like, give audience a second to breathe into next bit. And then there's times where I also really like the idea of like thinking I'm going to switch the topic, like give enough pause to go, we're going to go on something else. But then it's just the same, like, no, we're still talking about my dick. Hold on.
No,
I'm not done.
Yo,
I got quite a bit on this, right? But the first part kind of worked, and then because you stay in it, it gets better. Like, that's like, there's a moment where, but there's times where it just doesn't. And that's what tonight was like. I'm like, I think this would get better if I double down again, and then it was new and I pussied out because I didn't get what I wanted, and I was like, damn it, I should have fucking tried it.
Yeah, I do that.
It's like, it's a brand new thing, I haven't tried it, but it sounds
well, you're
right.
almost pissy. You're almost like, fine, you guys don't get to hear the second part.
No, it was a pretty racial joke in an all black room. Then I was like, well,
hey, that's where you got to test it.
Yeah, but it's where I want to test it. It's where I want to test it, but I want to have the audience more on my side. Test.
I get a little annoyed when I see people who will test a racial joke in like
It's the worst doing it in St. Charles. Oh, it's the fucking worst.
Like, to do it in front of an all-white crowd. If you're a white comic doing a racial joke in front of an all-white crowd,
it better have worked.
And you won't try it in an all-black room, you're racist.
Yeah.
If you try it in an all-black room first to make sure okay,
dude,
go for it. I fully support that, because
so
there's some people you hear them say shit and you're like, you would not have said that in North County.
The worst bombing story is this is me being dumb. So I was working out of Chicago, and so I got to do a bunch of mics because when I'm up in Chicago,
you were walking around Harlem with a sign that said I hate.
I was and so the one time I was up there for a job interview, I did the comedy bar. And, connected with a couple of comics, Natasha Pearl Hansen, and a couple of, they were just very nice people. Isaiah Dobo.
Oh, I know. I know Isaiah.
Yeah. Isaiah.
Shout out Isaiah.
Yeah, he's fucking great.
He just filmed a special. Check out.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he just released it, too.
It's on YouTube, I think. So shout out
Isaiah. I haven't
Isaiah.
watched it yet. He's very funny.
And he is good friends with my buddy down in Nashville, and we all did a show together down in Nashville, and we stayed at his house. Cool guy.
He's the shit. So this one comic I met, his name was Hondo, And he was telling me, he's like, if you want to get good, do the all black rooms in the South City. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do that. And so the next time I went up there for training, I was there for a week. So I called him up. I was like, hey man, I want to do whatever that room you're telling me to do. So we ordered an Uber. My black coworker was with me, and we're like getting an Uber. 3 different Ubers declined our ride. They're like, no, we're not going there. And we're like, so finally, I got an Uber Black, weirdly enough, to take me through the hood. Yeah, and got me to this bar. So the comedy show is normally outside on a patio, but it was a little cold that night, so they moved it inside to the bar, and the NBA playoffs were on. And then they put the speaker in the very back of the room, and then it was so you would talk, and you would it would be like a second delay on you'd hear your voice coming back at you.
Oof.
And then, there's a DJ, and so I'm there. I'm the only white guy, and so the show starts, and no one's paying attention because the fucking the playoffs are on, and I'm watching the playoffs. It's fucking great. And so I'm like the third or fourth comic up, and so I'm like, all right. I was going to try a new little softer opening, making fun of how I'm a dorky white guy.
Yeah.
But I went straight. I was like, no one was paying attention. I was like, fuck it, I'm doing my Kobe joke. I know it's, and so I opened with this Kobe joke. It's a super dark fucking joke. It works. It's a good fucking joke, but you have to stay in it and double down because it is a first one. Like you're like, oh, I don't want to laugh at that. The second part brings it over the top and go like, this is jokes, right? And holy shit, it did not go well. In the first, so I said it. The first guy heard it. And he was like, "Oh fuck no!" And I'm like, and then this lady heard it. She goes, fuck you!" And the DJ started screaming "fuck you" at me. And then I'm sitting there. I'm like sitting in it, going like, "No! I know some of you with me. I know." Hold on. And I couldn't get the second part out because it got so loud. And then the microphone cord fell out of the thing. And I'm like, "Hold on! 25 to life said he liked this joke. 20. I swear to God, I know." He pulled me aside. He told me he liked this. This was fucking approved.
That's just like you. Yeah, I just picture you on stage doing the equivalent of no. I have a black friend. He said it was okay.
No. This joke has worked.
Yeah.
And it was just and so the host of the show came up and he bailed me out. And he's like, "Oh, come back up here." I'm like, "Fuck no, I don't want to go back up there." But I did. I just told, I kind of apologized and just told 2 dick jokes. Got off. I stayed for the rest of the show. Fun fucking bar. Great fucking bar. Good times. As I'm leaving, a dude pulls me aside. He goes, "Man, fuck Kobe." And I'm like, "Thanks, man." I go, "That wasn't." Got in the Uber to come back and told my black coworker didn't hear the joke because the speaker was so shitty. I swear, I was like, she thinks I said the N-word. That's what she's like. There's no way.
Why did they react that way?
Why did they react this way to this? I'm like, and so I told her the joke, and our black Uber driver. And the black Uber driver started pissing himself laughing. And I was like, all right, thank God. All right, I'm all right. Felt real racist, real bad.
All right.
But yeah, it was the best. It was so scary, but also no, but I need to tell this joke in this room. I need this to work.
Yeah.
And I figured, I was like, oh, well, you don't open with that. You got to get people on your team.
Oh, yeah.
Before you go.
That's one thing I've told several comics who are starting out, and they're like, I just feel like the crowd doesn't like me. I feel like my jokes are good, but I feel like the crowd doesn't like me. And I'm like, well, man, look at the subject of all of your jokes. You told 4 jokes while you were on stage, right? They were each a minute long. It was about rape, masturbation, and murder or whatever.
Because they're
yeah. Nobody likes you. It doesn't mean you're not a good person. It doesn't mean you're not funny. It's just people don't know who you are, so they don't want to hear your thoughts on
your personality. Has to come through.
Yeah,
so much more than your
do some self-deprecating material.
That's Sam Vining's joke. I tell him all the time, fucking open with that shit. Open with that Jeffrey Dahmer shit. Open with that shit because you're gonna get.
I don't know if I remember that one. I know Sam, but I don't.
I guess that's one of those jokes. Yeah, he looks like Jeffrey Dahmer and Little Dicky had a kid.
Oh, yeah. That's
fucking good joke. It's a good fucking joke. And I'm like, this, every time I see him, did you open with it yet? Have you tried opening with it? Because I think everybody gets on his side. You're like, oh, well, this guy's funny as fuck.
Self-deprecating. There's nothing. I'm not going to say nothing wins the crowd better, but that is a great way to win a crowd over is to make fun of yourself. That's why I love doing all black rooms. Yes. Because you go on stage and make a joke about being like the nerdy white guy
That's why
or the
Javon's mic's the best mic. It's not
Yeah.
without a question. No offense to everybody else. That KJ's is
it's the most honest mic.
It's the
for
most
sure.
honest mic. Whether there's 5 people in the room or 30 people in the room,
You don't get pity laughs.
you don't get a pity laugh. You get a honest. If you're getting an honest laugh there, listen to that note and go try and get as much out of it because it's the shit. It's the best.
My favorite is when you have a good joke and it works, and you start a new joke and it doesn't. How quickly you lose the room and the body language will change.
Yeah.
Where people will be sitting there watching, and then you'll get like a.
I got a.
You get somebody they like lean back in their seat. They look at you, and then the next move is.
Yeah, I got.
And you like they turn and put their hand like over a back of it, like,
Yeah,
where are you going with it, like that? And you're like, hold on.
I had a black man, an old black man tonight, laughing very hard at my heroin bit, and it was making me very happy. And like there was a lady who was shaking her head laughing. And that's my favorite laugh.
Yeah.
Is where they're like, why'd you make me laugh at this?
I love it when
you fucking asshole. I didn't want to laugh at this. And I go, yeah.
I love it.
That's my
so
favorite fucking
much.
I'm like,
I have a bit now that I do about my grandmother. She called me the R word, and I've done it on stage, and you can see people in the crowd who would get super offended by someone saying the R word. But then you say it, I do the joke.
Yeah.
And when I hit that point, you can see them like I don't want to laugh at this.
Yeah.
I don't want to. But then they end up smiling or whatever. And it's like, oh.
Here comes the next punch.
Yeah. And
I got
then you hit
another
them
one.
with the next
I got
line.
the next one.
And then they lose it. And you're like, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
It's that lean in. That's what I compare it to is you hit it, you gave him a good body shot. And now they're leaning in. And you're like, here it comes, motherfucker.
Here it goes.
It's the best. That's the more fun feeling for me on stage. It's not the laugh. It's knowing the laugh's about to hit. You're like, all right, here we fucking go. It's like that's the thing that's addictive to me. Like where I'm like, oh, ooh, that feels good.
I had a moment one time where this guy yelled out, and I don't usually like it when people yell out during the show. But this guy yelled out in the perfect moment. Like I have a joke about, like, I don't want to give it away. But anyway, I say something like, well, if the cops show up at your house, and then I pause, and the guy yelled out, they know, like that. And my next line was, they know they're not there for tax fraud,
Yeah.
So it's like that. He
said,
he's like, they know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just pointed out, like, I know they're not there for tax fraud.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it just
flowed,
like it was just flowing
Yeah.
perfectly. And I mean, the crowd just lost it. And they were like, I had people come up to me and they're like, "Hey, you're so quick. How did you do it?" And I was like, I was going to say that no matter what happened.
I have a couple that like is kind of a false pandering, like it's designed to get.
Oh yeah, we all do.
Right. But like that idea of going like, it's so much better when someone does interject. It's like if I give enough pause and give enough time to it to give somebody time to go like fuck you or whatever. Not fuck you, but in that vein of like you're kind of a dick, and you're like, okay, but maybe the guy who set this material up might have something to say on the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. So then you can get them to give you improv. Like it gives me time to write a new tag on stage. Like it's going like, ooh, I might play better off that setup from her than mine.
Yeah.
And that's where I find really good tags a lot of times is going like that shit where it's like, okay, something's there. Like something that if I can get the audience to interact just a little bit, keep them on my page.
Last weekend I was at Helium and I worked with Matthew Broussard, very funny comic, but out of New York. And we were talking in the green room about how clubs around here don't really like newer comics to do crowd work. They want you to do material, right? Like, which is smart. It's not your show. People have come to see the headliner.
Yeah.
If the headliner wants to do crowd work and piss people off and get them to walk out,
you're setting the tone for the night.
It's their show, right? But you're just there to keep them happy, right? Just keep them laughing. That's all you're there for. So you really shouldn't be doing crowd work because it's not your show.
Right. I think you should be prepared to shut down hecklers, though.
Yes, but it makes it really hard to learn how to do crowd work
when you're not doing it.
Right. It's kind of like
That's why I like the would you
It's
rather
like training
shit.
to ride a bike without ever getting on a bike.
That's why I like the would you rather stuff. It's just going like this can be if we
Yeah,
can
it could be in the moment.
yeah, it gets a little more in the moment, crowd interaction.
Well, we did about an hour and 20.
Dude, fuck,
So,
really, that shit went quick.
you plug your social media one more time and your upcoming shows. 'Cause
Ryan Ballard Comedy, Anti-Bar Comedy, Anti-Bar Comedy Joint, I should say, on Insta, TikTok, Facebook. Come out to Anti-Bar. Dates vary. I think we might be taking a pause for the summer because the deck gets hot with all the AC units going.
oh yeah.
So
But it's still
but we might do something. We're going to figure something out for another Anti-Bar event here soon. And then we got a show. I don't know when this is coming out. June 14th at Sneaky's Comedy. Sneaky's Bar and Burger Joint in Edwardsville. Sneaky Comedy Night, 9:30.
Okay.
Still got like 20 tickets left for that. And that's a great night. That's a great room for comedy.
And when's I did Sneaky's. Great food too.
Great food. It's good.
Great food.
It's good, but a great room for comedy. June 15th is the Vet Show, which I'm hoping you're still able to make out on.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I'll have to double check.
Yeah, Grafton, Illinois, Vet Memorial Show. So our hero over here, our hero masturbator, will.
But if not, Will O'Donnell's going to be there.
Yeah, Will O'Donnell's going to crush it.
Beiersdorfer is going to be there.
Teal's on the show. Teal, Will, and Clay are all on the show at Sneaky's. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see Teal to be in that room.
I didn't know Teal was a veteran.
No, not on the Vet Show.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. So, but that would be funny if
and
you
then
just
me and you got
threw him on the veterans.
Me and you got the funniest the same night.
Did we really?
Yeah, we're on the same night.
Oh yeah,
it's me, you, and Javon.
June 12th.
Yeah, June 12th. It's a Wednesday, June 12th.
Yeah, June 12th. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got in June. Anti-Bar will always keep up to date as we go. Got some more stuff coming. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. The last thing I ask everybody before they get out of here, what will be the best way to improve this podcast? Any suggestions you got?
Oh man, that's a great. Have you considered changing the host?
You know how many several people have suggested that one. The YouTube
that's coming out of this.
The YouTube comments are full of people being like, the best way to fix that would be get rid of you, fat fuck, like that. Like, yeah.
I'm sorry about that, but my YouTube account handle, I tell it like it is.
Yeah,
all 28 of them.
I get you. Yeah, I get you.
My dog avatars and.
So you're Miley Cyrus's dick blood at at gmail.com. It's always the most random.
Netscape.
It's so weird how you can put out a video and YouTube will be like, no, I'm sorry, but you said balls, so that's a flag. You're not able to earn money on this because you said a bad word. And then the comments will just be like, you're fat, you're gay, you're retarded, kill yourself, I hate you, I'm going to burn your family to the ground. And it's like, YouTube's just like, engagement.
Yeah,
and then you're
doing
like,
great. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks, guys. Yeah.
So. Alpha's pretty cool like that.
Yeah, right.
So. Dude, thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, no worries. Anytime you want to come back, anytime you got a show to promote, let me know. And we'll try to get you in here and get an episode cranked out before before the show comes out. What else was I going to say?
See, Eric? Will this be out? This won't be out this weekend.
By this weekend? No, I think maybe next. I'm not sure if it's next Tuesday or the Tuesday after. I got to check my backlog of episodes. But
we might try and come out and see a show.
Okay.
Maybe. So, yeah. I'm going to try and convince my wife into that. We don't have nothing going on.
Yeah, do it, dude. John Morgan.
I want to see him. Yeah, I'm really excited to see him.
By the time this comes out, this will have already happened, but I'm featuring at Westport Funny Bone for John Morgan this weekend. So if you have a time machine and you've listened this far to the podcast, come see one.
If you have a time machine and you're not the person who invented porn on phones, I don't know who you are. That's got to be the person who invented time travel.
That's true.
Somebody who visited
one
himself.
And the same.
Yeah.
One and the same. There's no different. I think it's like, what did you go back? Did you kill Hitler?
He's like, no.
I
put porn on phones.
No. You guys aren't gonna believe this. I am a billionaire, gazillionaire. All right. Hey, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it, and thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.